Europe has some of the world's best universities, major industrial companies, advanced chip equipment, and strong scientific talent. But when a European startup wants to train a frontier artificial intelligence model, it often has to rent computing power from an American cloud company using American-designed chips. That is the contradiction the European Union now wants to break. Today, the European Commission announced a plan to support 7 enormous AI gigafactories across the bloc. The EU will provide up to €10 billion in public funding and hopes to attract at least €20 billion more from private investors. Each facility is expected to contain more than 100,000 advanced AI processors, around 4 times the computing capacity of Europe's current generation of AI factories. This is not simply another data center construction program. Europe is trying to build an independent foundation for training its own frontier models. But there is a problem hidden inside the plan. Europe wants technological sovereignty, yet the processors inside these sovereign AI factories are still likely to come from American companies such as NVIDIA, AMD, and Qualcomm. So can Europe become independent by building infrastructure around technology it does not control? To understand the stakes, imagine artificial intelligence as a new industrial economy. Models are the products, data is the raw material, chips are the machinery, electricity is the fuel. Cloud platforms are the factories where everything comes together. Europe has strong positions in some parts of this economy. ASML in the Netherlands makes lithography equipment essential to advanced semiconductor manufacturing. European research institutions produce influential scientific work. Companies such as Siemens, SAP, Airbus, Bosch, and numerous pharmaceutical groups hold valuable industrial data and engineering expertise. But Europe has struggled to create technology platforms with the scale of OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, or China's largest AI companies. One reason is computing power. Training a frontier model can require tens of thousands of advanced processors operating continuously for weeks or months. These chips must be connected by extremely fast networks, supplied with enormous amounts of electricity, and cooled without interrupting the workload. A startup cannot build that infrastructure casually. Even a successful European company may need to depend on Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud. That dependence creates more than a financial problem. A foreign cloud provider can influence pricing, availability, technical standards, and which chips customers can access. Sensitive European data may also pass through infrastructure controlled by companies subject to foreign laws. The EU believes computing power has become strategic infrastructure, similar to energy, transportation, or telecommunications. This is why the new facilities are called gigafactories. They are not factories in the traditional sense. They will not produce physical robots or processors. They will manufacture intelligence by transforming electricity, data, and computing power into trained AI models. Each site is expected to combine more than 100,000 advanced processors with storage, software, high-speed communication systems, cloud infrastructure, security, and specialized support for developers. To understand the scale, picture 100,000 expensive AI accelerators working together. If each chip cost only $30,000, the processors alone would represent roughly $3 billion before adding buildings, networking, memory, cooling, electricity, maintenance, and staff. The complete 7-site program could therefore become one of Europe's largest technology infrastructure projects. These new gigafactories will complement 19 smaller AI factories already being established across Europe. The earlier facilities are intended to give startups, researchers, and businesses access to AI-optimized supercomputers. The gigafactories are designed for a more ambitious task, training models containing trillions of parameters and competing at the frontier of AI capability. The EU hopes these machines will support European breakthroughs in medicine, manufacturing, climate technology, robotics, science, and space. A pharmaceutical company could train a model on biological and chemical data without sending its most valuable research outside Europe. An automaker could build AI systems using proprietary factory and vehicle information. Governments could develop models for public services while keeping sensitive citizen data under European rules. The shared infrastructure may also allow smaller organizations to access computing power that would otherwise be available only to the richest technology companies. This addresses one of the biggest dangers in the AI economy. If only a few corporations can afford to train advanced models, they gain control over the systems that other companies, governments, and researchers must use. Innovation becomes concentrated around whoever owns the chips and data centers. Europe wants these gigafactories to function more like strategic public infrastructure, where private companies can participate without one foreign platform controlling the entire system. The plan has already attracted interest from chip suppliers. NVIDIA, AMD, and Qualcomm have signed letters of intent indicating their willingness to supply technology to groups involved in the projects. That is good news for construction, but it exposes the central contradiction. Europe may control the buildings, electricity contracts, data, and operating companies, but it will still depend heavily on foreign processors. NVIDIA is based in the United States. AMD and Qualcomm are also American. Most advanced chips are manufactured by TSMC, primarily in Taiwan, using equipment and materials drawn from a highly international supply chain. The EU can build a European cloud, but the heart of the machine may remain imported. This does not make the program meaningless. Countries rarely achieve complete technological independence. A more realistic goal is strategic autonomy, meaning Europe can continue operating essential systems even when relationships with foreign suppliers become difficult. Owning the facilities provides bargaining power. It allows Europe to decide where data is stored, which companies receive access, and how computing capacity is distributed. It also creates demand that could support future European chip companies and software platforms. But buying American hardware cannot by itself create a competitive European AI industry. The machines need customers, models, skilled workers, useful data, and companies capable of turning research into profitable products. Europe has often been strong at scientific discovery, but weaker at scaling technology businesses. Promising startups may move to the United States, sell to larger foreign companies, or struggle to raise the enormous sums needed for expansion. A data center can provide compute, but it cannot automatically create the next OpenAI. This is the first major uncertainty in the plan. The second is electricity. AI gigafactories require a continuous and reliable power supply. Europe already faces higher industrial electricity costs than parts of the United States and China. 7 facilities containing more than 100,000 processors each could consume power comparable to large industrial zones. Governments will need to decide where the plants can connect to the grid, how to supply low-carbon electricity, and who pays for transmission upgrades. The data centers will also generate enormous amounts of heat. Cooling systems may require significant water or advanced liquid cooling infrastructure, creating possible conflict with nearby communities. Europe could spend billions on processors only to discover that power connections take longer to build than the computer systems themselves. The third uncertainty is speed. The tender process is scheduled to close on November 12. Successful projects are expected to be selected in early 2027. And the facilities are supposed to become operational within 18 months after contracts are signed. In artificial intelligence, 18 months can be an entire technological generation. The processors selected during the planning stage may no longer be the most advanced by the time the buildings open. Model architectures may become more efficient. New optical networking systems, custom chips, or smaller specialized models could change how much infrastructure is needed. Europe must move quickly without spending billions on systems that become outdated before they reach full capacity. This creates a difficult balance. Moving slowly could leave Europe permanently dependent on foreign platforms. Moving too quickly could produce expensive facilities built around the wrong technology. The fourth uncertainty is whether Europe's regulatory approach will help or hinder adoption. The EU wants the models developed inside these facilities to follow European standards on safety, ethics, transparency, and data protection. That could become a competitive advantage. European businesses may trust infrastructure specifically designed to meet EU rules. But compliance can also increase cost and slow deployment. American and Chinese companies may move faster because they face different regulatory environments and have access to larger pools of private capital. Europe is therefore attempting something unusual. It wants to combine American-scale computing infrastructure with European-style regulation and public oversight. If the project succeeds, Europe could offer a third model of AI development. The United States is dominated by private technology companies and venture capital. China relies heavily on state planning, domestic platforms, and national industrial policy. Europe wants a system where public funding creates shared infrastructure, private companies build services, and regulation protects citizens and strategic industries. That approach could appeal to countries that do not want complete dependence on either American or Chinese platforms. But the test will not be how many chips Europe installs. The test will be whether companies use those chips to build globally competitive products. A gigafactory sitting at low utilization is not sovereignty. It is an expensive warehouse. Europe needs developers, entrepreneurs, researchers, industrial partners, and customers ready when the computing power becomes available. The facilities must be easy to access, competitively priced, and connected to real commercial opportunities. The EU's €30 billion bet is therefore not mainly about data centers. It is a bet that infrastructure can create an ecosystem. Europe is trying to turn scientific talent, industrial data, public investment, and massive computing power into a new generation of AI companies. The project may reduce dependence on American cloud providers, strengthen data security, and give European startups access to resources they could never afford alone. But it will not automatically solve Europe's deeper problems with energy costs, private investment, business scaling, or foreign chip dependence. 7 gigafactories can give Europe the machinery. The harder challenge is building an industry powerful enough to use it.